Morning, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting edition of Beyond the Game. Beyond the Game brought to you by. I can't hear myself. Are we on? Hey, there we go. Beyond the Game brought to you by Batesville Chrysler Dodge Jeep, Gillenhow Funeral Home, Acra Automotive, Decatur County Recycling, Walters Tire, Hamilton Tempe Law Office, and Byrite Auto. Ryan Higginbotham, Jason Simpson live here in studio. Ladies and gentlemen, 2 weeks in a row, we have him with us once again via satellite. The Godfather has returned. Tom Fleming is semi in the house, everybody.
Yes, on a secret mission from what in my Army days we would call Fort Living Room.
From the comforts of his Lazy Boy recliner. Shout out
Yes.
to, even though they don't sponsor Beyond the Game, you're more than welcome to Tap Furniture. But Tap Furniture has been a loyal sponsor of many local sports broadcasts. So the Lazy Boy, if you want to be like Tom and enjoy that comfort, go see our friends at Tap Furniture.
Which is actually where this chair came from that I'm sitting in, and it is actually called the Beast. It is the biggest lift chair that they have.
Now wait, Tom, is that a comment on how much comfort you wanted, or is that a comment on you thought, man, I really need an industrial-sized chair to get me up?
A little of both, probably. Actually, I wanted as much comfort as I could have, so this thing is wonderful. I've had it for a couple of years, and it's great. I love it.
Well, Tom, you and I both said last night, we can't seem to escape controversy and get to positive vibes when it centers around the WNBA, and especially for us, the Indiana Fever, because, they're in our backyard. They have Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham, who have, for vastly different reasons, have become lightning rods around the WNBA. But, I said I had almost a hot take. We haven't had any hot takes in a while. I had a hot take when it came to the WNBA, and you said you did as well. So I'm going to give you the floor first. Why don't you go ahead and share with us what your hot take or deep dive is when it comes to the WNBA?
Well, for people that may not be aware, there was a game recently between the Indiana Fever and the Chicago Sky. And during that, Sophie Cunningham was driving for a layup, and she gets taken out by Dejanay Carrington. Isn't that a mustard?
Dejanay.
Yeah. And, I mean, she just wiped Sophie out. It was kind of one of those things for me that, you don't hit somebody when they're in the air. When they're going for a fast break, you don't wipe them out. And she's been known to do this before, Miss Dejanay. And she ended up getting ejected, got called for a flagrant 2, was ejected from the game, and within minutes of her being ejected, on her Instagram, I think, I don't remember which one it was, but she put white privilege at Indiana Fever. Now, it doesn't take much to draw conclusions from what she said, and now Miss Dejanay, on her X account, this is what she said in response to comments about her play and in taking her out. And this is what she had to say. I've never once claimed that the assessment of the foul was white privilege. That was your assumption. Try exercising your critical thinking skills. I know you studied psych. Furthermore, I'm the last thing from ignorant or asinine when it comes to speaking on white privilege. Do your research on that one. I actually went to school, one of the top universities, might I add, Stanford. She went to Stanford for 3 years. to educate myself on this exact subject. I would never use that term as a rhetorical weapon, knowing the historical and social weight it holds without having the proper evidence to substantiate it. It's just who I am. I'm never going to just let an open layup be had. And now this week, there have been 2 other instances in 2 separate games of her doing something very similar to what she did to Sophie Cunningham. But now, I think that we're all reasonably intelligent people on this show. If somebody sends out something on Instagram or on X that says white privilege at Indiana Fever, what conclusion are you supposed to draw from that? How can you draw anything other that she's claiming that it was a result of white privilege and the Indiana Fever specifically? So, guys, your thoughts on that? I mean, it's ridiculous.
I don't know how you can think she meant anything but exactly what she said. Why would you post that and then say, well, that's not what I meant? I mean, there's not a whole lot of gray area when you post something like that says white privilege. That's not an innuendo or anything. It means exactly what you have just said. So I don't know how she can pretend to hide behind it. And the thing is, to her point, she is not a dumb person. She graduated from Stanford. It's an elite. It's not a good, it's an elite university. But I think she is totally backwards when she says she is not ignorant. There is a big difference between dumb and ignorant, because ignorant can mean just not knowing. And even though I feel that she is a very educated lady, I think she is ignorant to the fact that regardless of what you intended that to mean, it's going to come off as exactly the words that you said. You weren't trying to hide behind that and mean something else and paint a picture that meant something different. You meant exactly what you put out on X.
Yeah.
Ryan, your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, when I saw the video of it and then I saw her comment, I went, what else could this possibly be about? And I mean, it's just asinine. Truthfully, it's one of the dumbest things that you could really do. And I saw that she said, just wait until like the next game. Their next game's what, like 8 days away? Is it next Sunday? I think the Fever and Sky play again, something like that.
Tom would know. He probably has the WNBA schedule tattooed on his body somewhere. That's how big a fan he is.
I know they do have a game coming up here soon over the next couple of weeks, some point.
And so, like, when you go back and watch it, because Tom, to your point, this became a controversy, and then the Fever's next game out, Stephanie White gets booed by the home crowd, which then leads some players to back her, and then she comes out and holds this press conference, basically saying that the outside world, whoever that is creating narratives that aren't true, and I'm going to honestly, a fraction of what she said, I'm actually going to agree with. When she says, we get the luxury of having the replay and slow-mo, and they show it from 85 different angles and things like that. She said in real time, she did not see the severity of it, which is why she didn't react to the level that I think fans may have expected her to react to that foul. But here's where I'm going to push back on her. And Tom, you know this of me. I'm going to defend my players until the end of days. If something even looks a little bit funny, I will lose my mind to defend my players. And then if I have to go back and rescind and apologize or soften what I said, then I will do that. But my default is defend my players, period. Because I know the character of the kids that I coach, and I know if there's any sort of a rough play or something happens and then there's maybe a retaliation against one of my kids or something, I can literally think back through every single kid that I've coached on the girls' side. I can't name for you one player that would have ever intentionally gone out and purposefully tried to do something. The way that Dejanay Carrington's foul, it looked intentional. Like, I know there's intentional fouls, but it looked like she was purposefully trying to take Sophie Cunningham's head off. It looks to me like, I think as soon as she left the floor, it was, I am going to go try to contest this shot. Very quickly understood it wasn't going to happen. She goes, okay, I'm going to prove a point here. And she tried to take her head off. So I think where Stephanie White kind of loses some of that argument, and I think it's a reason why some of the fans were so frustrated and expressed it in booing. And then the funny thing is they said she got a loud ovation last night. But it wasn't just that incident. And, Tom, you'll remember more of these, I'm sure. How many times just this year have there been instances where she had a chance to defend whether it was Caitlin Clark or another player or a team, and she just gives you this vanilla, flowery answer where it doesn't feel like she has her players' backs? Now, publicly the players are saying that she does, and they feel it from her, but I wonder if behind the scenes that is the actual reality, because there have been so many instances this year, and that last one with Dejanay Carrington and the foul is yet another example of where you don't feel like Stephanie White fully has her players' backs. It's like she has a foot on both sides of the line. She's being cautious in what she's saying and maybe a little bit trying to defend her players. I don't know, Tom. Am I reading that right?
Yeah, and I think part of it initially, she didn't react in the way that most people think that she should. If you go back a couple of years ago, Caitlin Clark's rookie year, she had an instance during a game where she got poked in the eye. Guess who the player was that poked her in the eye?
Dejanay
Carrington. And guess who Dejanay Carrington's coach was when that incident happened? Stephanie White.
Huh. Interesting.
I think she was trying to defend one of her former players. But yeah, I mean, I get frustrated. I really don't think she appreciates what she has, specifically with Caitlin Clark.
Well, and like even to your point, if she is defending somebody who, if you've coached before, you probably have a relationship with and things, but it's really easy to still defend your players. I have a long-standing relationship with Dejanay. She's she plays hard. She, blah, 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 blah. But that crossed the line, and that's not what we're about. And I'm sure she feels sorry for it, but we have to protect our players. She shouldn't be doing things. There's a very easy way to support your player now while still in a backhanded way, not lambasting your former player, but it'd be like scolding your own child. You can still do that while also giving the impression that, hey, I am fully behind the players that I am in charge of right now. That is my number one priority. That would have been so simple to do, but yet again, add it to the list of hundreds of ways that the WNBA and the Fever and Stephanie White cannot get out of their own way. They just can't help themselves. They are quite literally the perfect example of one step forward, two steps back. Every single time they open their mouths, it's one step forward, two steps back. Except for, and I'm not saying she's perfect, because she had to have a technical foul rescinded to not get an automatic suspension. But have you? I know you have. This is a rhetorical question. Have you ever paid attention to every single time that Caitlin Clark speaks? how it makes sense, how it's about the right things, how it tries to not only progress her team and her teammates, but the game and the league and things like it's never a shot across anyone else's bow, whether right in your face or, taking, an underhanded compliment or diss or whatever you want to look at it. She's just so buttoned up and so businesslike and professional in everything that she does. So Caitlin Clark can take 2 steps forward, but then somebody else is going to open their mouth 2 steps back. So at best, the WNBA stays where they are, but if it's not Caitlin Clark, they just keep moving 2 steps back from where they were every single time, and they just cannot get out of their way.
Yep.
So I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb here, and this is going to go back to this is Hot Take Hotel style here. I don't know if I'm going to raise it to that level, but we kind of said it. I kind of said it jokingly last night. And I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. This is the only reason I don't fully believe this already is I go back in my head to guys like Grant Hill, Anthony Hardaway, Derrick Rose, guys who at the start of their career were on a path to like top 5, top 10 all-time conversation. They started on that path. Injuries just derailed all 3 of those guys' careers. Like, you go back and look at the first 3 or 4 years of Grant Hill's career, there's a reason people were comparing him to Michael Jordan. Now, do I think he ever would have gotten to that status? No. But there were a lot of comparisons in their games and the way that he played and things like that. But injuries just took him out of it. But, I said last night in our text chain, and I will G-rate what I put in our text, but when is the WNBA and the players around the league and the league itself going to realize they already have, even though she's only in her 3rd year, they already have the GOAT playing right now. The best player to ever play in their league is playing right now, and that's no diss on any player that's come before, but let's look at this. Okay, so 20 career games with 20-plus points and 10 assists. That's stat number 1. That's the most in WNBA history. Caitlin Clark already has that. And don't forget, she only got to play, 12 games last year, Tom? Is that right? 12 or 13 games?
Yeah.
So
13.
So in 3 seasons, she may have played a 2 seasons worth of games. Mm-hmm. So she has 20 career games of 20-plus points and 10 assists. That is the most in WNBA history. That's in basically, like we said, 2 seasons. No other player has more than 10 by themselves. Courtney Vandersloot has 10. Diana Taurasi had 9. So Clark has doubled the highest of the next player that has done it. She has 4 career games of 30-plus points and 10 assists. That's the most in WNBA history. Before Caitlin Clark, no player had ever done it more than once. She already has 4. She's the first and only player in WNBA history to have 40 points and 10 assists when she had 45 and 10 against Seattle. That was just a couple weeks ago. She has 10 career games with 25 points and 11 assists. No other WNBA player has more than 5. 8 career games of 25 points, 10 assists, and 5-plus made threes. Every other player in WNBA history, there's 4 combined games that way. She has 8. She has the WNBA single-game assist record with 19. In her rookie year, averaged 19.2 points, 8.4 assists, 5.7 rebounds, led the WNBA in assists. She set the single-season record with 337 assists, a rookie record of 769 points, rookie record 122 threes, first rookie in WNBA history with a triple-double, first rookie in WNBA history with 2 triple-doubles, first rookie with 30 points, 10 assists in a game. She's the fastest rookie to 100 points and 50 assists, 150 points, 50 rebounds, 50 assists, 200 points, 75 rebounds, 75 assists, 350 points, 150 rebounds, 150 assists, 120 rebounds. Did that in 22 games, by the way. 400 points and 200 assists, did that in 26 games. Fastest player in WNBA history to 500 career assists. She did that in 59 games. Sue Bird, who was the record holder before that, took 82 games, so an NBA season to get to that. Clark did it in 59. Fastest player to 600 assists, fastest to 200 made threes, fastest to 1,500 points, 650 assists. She did that in 78 games. The first player to do that was Sue Bird. Took her 116 games. Fastest player to 1,000 points, 250 rebounds, 250 assists. Took her 54 games. Diana Taurasi needed 62. You notice these names I'm throwing out there are the other people who are involved in the GOAT conversation. Fastest player to 250 points and 100 assists in a season. It only took her 13 games. WNBA record for consecutive games with 20-plus points and 5-plus assists. She already broke she did that in 6 straight games. Already broke her own single-season record for 20 points, 10 assists. So this year she's averaging almost 22 points a game, over 8 assists. So other than being able to garner to continue to accumulate these statistics over years, literally the only thing she is missing, and this is my hot take, and you can agree or disagree or tell me I need to think about it another way. The only thing she is missing now are WNBA titles, which it takes a team to do that, and MVPs, and we've already seen the idiocy around the WNBA. Are people going to be willing to vote for her for this, whatever it is, axe they have to grind against her? But statistically speaking, you can start and look at that and go, well, yeah, it's points, 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 points. Why can't we say she's James Harden? Because then you start to look, and she set the single-season record for assists. And last time I checked, aren't triple-doubles, points, and then a combination thereof of assists, rebounds, blocks, steals, other offensive statistics that you can get? She got hers the old-fashioned way. It was points, rebounds, assists. So it's not like she's not like her teammate Mitchell, Kelsey Mitchell, who literally go back and look at all of her box scores for this year. Scores a ton of points, and Tom, again, you watch more than any of us. What else does she do to help the team win other than score? Look, I get it. That is a very important statistic. But Caitlin Clark is scoring. She's assisting for teammates to score. She's rebounding. She's getting steals. She's doing all of these things. That is why my hot take is removing the fact, and again, it's only her third year, and she basically missed her entire second year. Removing the fact that she has not yet won WNBA titles, I'm telling you right now, Caitlin Clark is already the GOAT of the WNBA, and the only way you could argue this is you could say she doesn't have the titles to back it up. That's my hot take.
Yeah, I mean, you look at her, how she's played this year. She is third in the league in scoring, which is great. You know, that's a wonderful thing. But she also leads the league in assists. So it's not like she's out there just trying to put points on the board for herself. She's looking for those open teammates. In that game last night against Dallas, she just took over. She showed in the third quarter last night why she is the GOAT. You know, there was all this about, well, you know, Paige Beckers is better than Caitlin Clark, and Olivia Miles better than Caitlin Clark. Well, I think last night, the game as a whole, but especially in that third quarter against Dallas, against Paige Beckers, Caitlin Clark showed why she is the greatest. Hands down, no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
And I don't think I sent it in our group chat last night, but there was, because it's not just third in points and first in assists. She's third in points and first in like 5 or 6 other categories, and they compared her to the other MVP candidates. You know, you have Asia Wilson, and then I guess they're starting to talk about Kelsey Mitchell as an MVP candidate. But Caitlin Clark, again, third in scoring and first in like 5 or 6 other statistical categories, where these others were, you know, maybe first in scoring, second in scoring, but then they're 27th in assists and 8th in rebounds or whatever it is. So, I mean, it is amazing the things that she has done this earlier in her career. And as we basically have to ask every single week, anytime this comes up, why can't the WNBA players and the league itself, Kathy Engelbert, like, I mean, talk about biting the hand that feeds you. Just get out of the way. Get out of the way. Let Caitlin Clark take over the league like she has with so many fans, as we've talked about ad nauseum on here. The sellout crowds, the TV deal that you got, the collective bargaining deal that you got, was because of Caitlin Clark and her popularity and the eyeballs that she brought to the game. And like you said, Tom, you brought up Paige Becker's name. I don't know how much you've watched of her, but Paige Becker is a heck of a lot of fun to watch. But guess what?
Yeah.
She is not Caitlin Clark. She just isn't.
Nope. And
here, I forgot to add this. My other caveat to why I might not go full, just go full submersion into believing this. I'm not putting my head underwater yet. I'm sorry. It's great to be competitive. I mean, the greatest of all time, who, as we know, is Michael Jordan. Like, has there ever been a more competitive athlete? I don't think so. But Caitlin has to get it reined in, like her fieriness to the point where she gets technical fouls. That is the one little fly in the ointment for me right now. Like, hey, let's clean that up, because whether anybody else around the league wants to admit it, you are the face of the league. So let's clean that up, and then once we do that, I mean, just start winning titles, and there's going to be no conversation to even be had that she's the GOAT.
And every WNBA player, past, present, and future, they should be on their knees thanking Caitlin Clark every 2 weeks when they get their paychecks, because the reason that they're making the money that they are is because of the popularity of Caitlin Clark. Then everybody says, "Oh, but yeah, it's not about her." But before her, when you had Diana Taurasi, Cynthia Cooper, Sue Bird, Elena Deladon, players like that, they did not have the impact on the league that led to them making the kind of money that they're making now. And all of the people that are coming in now, rookies that are making $500,000 a year, that last year a rookie was making about $75,000 a year. So Caitlin Clark and her popularity just has brought it to that point that they're making so much more money, and they just cannot accept that it's because of her. Full stop.
And how about we take it one step further? It's not just every time that paycheck rolls into the bank account. How about every time they leave for an away game and they step on that chartered flight?
Yeah.
I mean, you're not flying Southwest anymore, girls, and it's because of one person. And you can try to argue it and fight it all you want. The proof is in the pudding. None of this was even in the realm of possibilities until one player showed up from the cornfields of Iowa, and she saved the day and saved the league. I'm not saying, like, because we've talked about it so much on here. Like, Asia Wilson is a phenomenal player. She doesn't move the needle. Paige Beckers is fun and exciting, and I think she would have brought a few more fans around, because you I got to go to a Fever game this year, and they happened to play Dallas, and obviously it was a ton of Caitlin Clark jerseys everywhere, but you saw some young girls with Paige Becker jerseys on. Great, but not nearly as many as you see, not just at home Fever games. Anytime Caitlin Clark is in the arena, you see them from young girls to grown men. You see people wearing Caitlin Clark merch. And so we have beaten that topic up on how inept the league itself is. But, I mean, just remove the blinders for a second and just look statistically at what she's done. We can take away all the money and everything and eyeballs that she's brought to the league, and not to mention TV deals, again, because of Caitlin Clark. But just look at the statistics. It's not hard to figure out just how good she is, how impactful she is, not only on winning for the Fever, but impactful on the game of women's basketball, the sport of women's basketball. And it's so frustrating to watch how over her first 3 seasons, how the league in general has just fumbled so many opportunities. I mean, go back to the beginning of this year when there was a promotional advertisement put out to try to, get people excited about the WNBA and say, watch on our new TV partners and things. And guess who isn't present on that graphic? I mean, again, one of 1,000 ways that Kathy Engelbert or whoever it is within the WNBA who makes these decisions have just fumbled and fumbled and fumbled and fumbled away so many golden goose opportunities that it's to the point that it's just laughable. So, I don't know. Have we beat up the WNBA long enough and lauded praise on Caitlin?
I don't really think you can beat up the WNBA long enough. I think you just got to keep doing it. But to Jason's point, she is the greatest. She was the greatest WNBA player when she was at Iowa. Like, she not only saved the league, she brought more eyes to it. As somebody who, I think I was 9 when the Fever won the WNBA championship back in 2012. I watched most of those games. As somebody who has not watched a whole lot of WNBA games, the only reason I turn on the TV if there's a WNBA game, and it's not because of, McFlopperson over there at Angel Reese. It's because of Caitlin Clark. She is the single greatest scorer in all of college basketball, not just women's, but college basketball. If you can look at me with a straight face and tell me that she's not the greatest WNBA player of all time, and pretty much 2 to 2.5 years, you must. I want whatever you're drinking. You're drinking the Kool-Aid, because I want whatever you're drinking. If you don't believe that,
now, Tom, I have to ask you this question. So, I got to think of how to frame this. Obviously, we all know you're an Ohio State fan. And now, basically, because of NIL, they're basically pros. They're not under contract, but they're pros. They're getting money and things. But let's say there was an All-American, first-team All-American, guaranteed first-round draft pick when they go to the draft that was at Texas. And let's say he's on the defensive side of the ball. And he's so good, he's in the conversation for being the number 1 pick, even in this day and age of quarterbacks. That's how good this guy is. But then is facing felony charges. Is not guilty, under investigation, totally denies all wrongdoing and all of these things. Texas lets him go, says we don't want anything to do with it. And Ohio State grabs him up, says we're going to pay you the same NIL that you were getting at at Texas. As an Ohio State fan, where do you stand on taking chances on people like that? Do you think that teams should do that? Is it fair to not do that? I'm really curious where you stand on this issue.
My gut reaction is I wouldn't want anything to do with it, with the person. However, you have to look at all of the circumstances that are involved. But again, gut reaction, I would not want them within 100 miles of my campus on Woody Hayes Boulevard in Columbus, Ohio.
Ryan, let's say it's Kentucky basketball, and they just, I doubt they would have a felon on the team at Duke, so that wouldn't be a good example. We'll say Kansas. Basketball, blue blood, all these things happen. He's going to be the number one pick. He's the next Victor Wembanyama, but for whatever reason didn't come out after his freshman year. And then Kentucky has a chance to get him. Do you want Kentucky basketball to get this kid?
I mean, in my heart of heart, I would say yes, just because of the player. But in this day and age, it's hard to take away the player and the person. It's hard to separate them. So I think I'd have to go with Tom and say no.
So here, because then let me ask it through this lens. What if you found out because this wouldn't actually be big news, but what if it was just a Joe Schmo kid who might get a few snaps in football, might get a 3 minutes here and there in a basketball game, and you find out they did it? What would your lens be on that?
Oh, they no way, not even in the conversation.
Okay, good. So you are proving my point then, and this is what the NFL is doing. Where we stand, because I'm the same way, where we stand is going to depend on how good. It's going to depend on the talent of the player. Because what I'm getting at here is, I don't know if you saw this, so the Seattle Seahawks have signed Terrion Arnold from the Lions. Terrion Arnold is facing 8 felony charges. He's a former first-round cornerback. He was released by the Lions in February due to an alleged kidnapping and robbery. He denies all allegations and things of that nature. Seattle says they did an extensive background check, spoke with people who knew him, received overwhelmingly positive character feedback. And it said the AP reports that Arnold actually had visited multiple NFL teams considering him. So my question is, what if this dude was a former 7th rounder, had gone from the practice squad to the active roster and back and forth? Is Seattle and multiple NFL teams going to even consider this guy? I think the answer is no.
No.
But because he can help them win, they say, oh, he's such a good guy. They're willing to overlook character. But then, and see, this is where it gets messy, and this is where it bothers me in my brain, because one part of my brain says, look, we live in America. Aren't we in America supposed to be innocent until proven guilty?
Yep.
So are we going to just because of accusations suddenly slam the door on this guy and say, nope, you get no chance? Or is it within teams in the NFL's rights to say, look, you have all of this mess going on. We're not kicking you out of the league, but we're basically saying that a team cannot sign you until this is all resolved. I don't know what the best way to handle it is as far as that goes. And it's quite funny to me, though, that the NFL, which should be renamed to the Domestic Battery Football League. I mean, let's be honest. How many times a year do we have to hear about another NFL guy beating up on his wife or girlfriend or mistress or whoever it is? Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. And all that ever is maybe a game or two suspension and then welcoming back with open arms. No big deal. Like, what are we doing? We're promoting domestic violence. So it's a mental quagmire for me, because I know, Like if it's IU football or IU basketball and they get a questionable character guy, but he helps them win game. Like everybody loves Fernando Mendoza. Not only because he was a phenomenal quarterback, but he was such a good dude. I mean, what if Fernando Mendoza had 15 felonies hanging over his head and we still won the national title last year? Guess who's not going to care? But if it was Fernando's little brother, Alberto, and he's the backup, and he's like, yeah, let's get Alberto on here, I would be screaming from the rooftops, get him out. But then I keep going back and forth. Well, is he innocent until proven guilty? At what point? I don't know. There's so many layers to that onion that I'm having trouble dissecting it in my brain, Tom.
Well, for me, I've read the allegations against Terrion Arnold, and anybody that has read the allegations and thinking that there's even a minute possibility that they're all true, I don't know ethically how you can say I want to sign him, or I just want to, back off until until the legal issues run their course. Because my goodness, if any part of what this guy allegedly has done, I wouldn't want him anywhere near my team.
Do tell. Give us the G-rated version of it, or PG.
He basically, allegedly, because he got upset. I can't remember the whole situation. I'm going to sound stupid if I even try. But suffice it to say, the kidnapping part of it alone would make most people take a step back before considering this guy. But I'm going to try and get a little synopsis of it while we're going. But go ahead, guys.
Okay. Well, early in the year, I was giving Ryan a quick second to brag on the Cincinnati Reds, and now we've seen where that has gone to. Hey, but they're not in last place anymore. So do you need to brag a little bit?
Chase Burns was electric last night. He got his win back after he was god-awful in his last couple outings. But that's not even the story I want to get to about the Reds. It's the same old story. If it happened in the 90s, a brawl would have happened, and I wish he would have done it. It was not this past game against the Marlins, but they were in Chicago playing the White Sox. Sal Stewart hits a bomb. He stares at it for a couple seconds. I mean, he's the best rookie, and not just in the National League. He's the best rookie in baseball. He can do that. Takes 1 second to look at it. I mean, he pimped it, but he looked at it, throws his bat down, and he takes his time. The next at-bat for Sal Stewart, the first pitch goes about 10 inches over his head. It just flies over. The second pitch goes right at his helmet, and it hits him. And now, as somebody who has not only, this is weird for me to say, not only been hit in the head and also thrown a pitch.
Oh, so that's what's wrong with you.
Yes. It's been a couple times. But as somebody who's not only been hit in the head with a pitch, but thrown, a pitch that's hit somebody in the head, there's two sides to every story. But you can't tell me you give up a home run in the first inning. The next at bat, you see this dude, you throw over his head the first pitch, and then
that's a message.
And then you smoke him in the head.
Yeah, that's not good.
The bench is cleared, and they throw him out of the game. Later in the game, Suarez gets hit. He kind of moves his shoulder up, grazes his shoulder, and kind of hits his helmet. 2 pitches, or 3 pitches that were all in the neck and above region. 2 players got hit. The Reds won 9-8, thankfully. What are we doing? You're throwing at a rookie because he hit I think it was 419-foot bomb off you, and then you're going to back him out of the plate and then throw at him. But nonetheless, yes, the Reds are, I'm not going to lie to you, the Reds are terrible. They are.
They're not in last place, though.
They're not in last place, but they're also in the worst like the second worst division in baseball.
Yeah, but you have 2 of the 3 best teams in baseball in that division too.
It's top heavy. We're fighting for third place at this point. We know we're not getting a division.
Do they have any chance to get to the wild card?
I think they're only 5 games out.
Let's see, standings
with like 40 games. They have every chance
here we go.
in
Wild
the
card.
book, but I don't
let's
see it happening.
Yeah, they're only 5 games out of the. I say only. They're 5 games out of the wild card.
I think they have 40-some games, so 5 games out in reality is about, you have to make up probably about 10 games. Where you're chasing, and it's bad enough, you're chasing the last wild card spot to go do what you did last year and go to LA.
Yeah, that's always a fun thing.
I just got a text from our good friend Mark over at Byright.
Yes.
And he said, "Good morning, Tom and the crew. Yeah, they aren't in last place anymore, at least for now, but the last place Pirates have a better chance of getting to the playoffs, and I'm a Reds fan."
Oh, that's not good.
The Pirates have a better chance of trading Paul Skeens than making the playoffs. I don't know about you, but
have you seen how Paul Skeens has pitched this year?
Yeah, his last outing, he never reached above 97 miles an hour.
Isn't that fun? I know it's because he's capable, but isn't it funny when we talk about, oh my gosh, he didn't get above 97. He's still throwing 97. I mean, come on. But I get it, because you have to think about wear and tear and what's going on, because he is normally above that. So I get it, but it's not like all of a sudden he was throwing 89 or something. I mean, that's a huge loss of velocity. But I gave Ryan just a quick chance there to brag on his Reds because, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I don't know. It was the Boston Red Sox for a very long time, but I don't know if there is a hotter team in baseball than my favorite, beloved Chicago Cubs at this point. They made some moves at the deadline, brought in a bunch of arms. I mean, they are rolling when it comes to that. Last night, shut out the Cardinals 3-0. Clay Holmes makes his first start since. Where did Holmes come from? He wasn't the Mets, was he?
I think.
Okay, he was the Mets. He was phenomenal last night. Cubs have gone from 7.5 back at the All-Star break. They've got the Brewers lead down to 3 in the division. Things are just heating up. Pete Crow Armstrong right now is hands down the MVP in the National League. I don't care. You can take your Shohei Ohtani, and people are going to vote for him just because he does it on the plate, or at the plate and on the mound. Hey, I get it. He's a novelty, and he's great at what he does. But this year, this season, there's been no better player in baseball than Pete Crow Armstrong. And go ahead and pull up the stats. That's not just me coming from the blue and red colored glasses of a Cubs fan. PCA, not only statistically, but look at him in clutch situations when the Cubs need something and he's at the plate. He always delivers. What does an MVP do? They deliver when their team needs it, and he does it at a high level. I am super excited about where the Cubs are right now because, early in the year we got excited. They had 2 10-plus game winning streaks, and then out of nowhere have a 10-plus game losing streak. It's like, what are we doing here? But then, the Brewers kind of went on a heater there just before, probably about, 3 weeks before the All-Star break, through about 2 weeks after the All-Star break. The Brewers were the best team in baseball. They were on fire, but the Cubs didn't let them stretch it out so far and let them get away that they couldn't catch them. And now they've got it to 3 games, and I couldn't be more excited as a Cubs fan to see where they are at. And I guess I should stay even more excited about it because, unfortunately, boys, it don't look like we're going to get to watch this next year. So I should stay excited about it this year, right?
Yeah.
Well, it just shows, the Cubs made smart moves at the trade deadline. I, unfortunately, am a lifelong Cincinnati Reds fan. And they were in discussions with the Red Sox to trade Ellie De La Cruz to the Red Sox. What would Reds Nation, Ryan, do if they traded Ellie De La Cruz right now?
I don't think there'd be as Jason calls it, a fairly average American ballpark anymore. I think it would be burned to the ground, genuinely, if they traded Ellie De La Cruz.
Like, I'm literally asking as an outside. Now, here's the thing, and I think I've said this before. We're so close to Cincinnati, and, it's easy for us to get to games and things. I'm not anti-Cincinnati Reds. I am just very pro-Chicago Cubs. That's my team. For me, as just an average sports fan, and this is for every other average sports fan out there, or heck, even Reds fans in this instance, if the Reds would have traded Ellie De La Cruz, give me one reason, one thing, one little hook to hang your hat on as to why you would buy a ticket to go see the Cincinnati Reds.
The only other good reason they are, and that's Sal Stewart.
You think that the average fan is going to go, yeah, I'm going to buy a Reds ticket to go see Sal Stewart? Because when I hear Sal, all I think of is Impractical Jokers. Like, I mean, you think that an average fan is buying a ticket to see Sal Stewart? You truly believe that?
When me and my fiance went to the game, I saw more Sal Stewart jerseys than I did Ellie De La Cruz.
Reds fans.
Yes.
I'm saying average Joes.
I mean, there was 20,000 people there at that game, and I'd say...
What, 20,000 people disguised as empty seats, or what?
It was Tuesday afternoon, a doubleheader. I can't help that.
Tom, what do you think? Do you think there is any regular fan out there, they're just a fan of baseball, that's going to go see a game between the Cincinnati Reds and the Pittsburgh Pirates, we'll say? Paul Skeens is not pitching, and Ellie De La Cruz is not on the team anymore. How many just general admission tickets are going to be purchased to this game?
I think most people that are not Reds fans would probably say, who? And Sal Stewart's a great player.
Yeah, it's not a knock on him.
But people are people from other teams, fans of other teams, are going to be like, who?
Yeah.
Sal, who?
I mean, because you have to look at it. Everybody knows Ellie De La Cruz, either from what he's done on the diamond, which he's been really good, or, I mean, he was to the point where he was good enough, he was put on the cover of MLB The Show. Mm-hmm. He was on the cover of a video game. You know you've arrived. Maybe you don't stay there, but you know you've arrived if you can make it to the cover of a video game, and that's what he was able to do. And that's, whether it is from his exploits on the diamonds, or from that, people around every team, around the country, know Ellie De La Cruz, and they know he plays for the Reds. And there's a lot of people, and yes, we know that the Reds are, they're one of the bedrock foundation teams, and I don't mean in the standings, but like they are the foundation of Major League Baseball. They're one of the OGs, as the kids say.
They're the first. They are the first Major League Baseball team.
And so you have that historical background, but especially in today's day and age, this is a what have you done for me lately. The Reds have not been relevant in how many years?
15 at least.
And so Joey Votto isn't there anymore.
Nope.
And, Joey Votto used to sell tickets. Ellie De La Cruz sells tickets. If they got rid of him, the diehard Reds fans, they would be mad, but they might get excited, because to get an Ellie De La Cruz, the Red Sox were going to have to give up a lot. I doubt they give up anything that's a present major leaguer. So the Reds would have gotten draft picks. They would have gotten guys in the highly rated guys in the Red Sox farm system. So you get excited for the future, maybe. But the future doesn't sell tickets now. And if you don't have that name that brings you out to the ballpark, kind of to Ryan's point, we think the Reds don't spend money now. The Reds wouldn't have money to spend you get rid of Ellie De La Cruz because there's not going to be butts in the seats. I don't think I'm wrong with that.
And the Reds tease us so much. They tease us so much. It's like, Ryan, you brought up Chase Burns, great young pitcher. The Reds actually signed him to either a 7 or 8 year extension which will end up saving the Reds money in the long term because they're buying out his arbitration years and his first couple years of when he would be eligible for free agency. It's like, wow, they actually did that. They made that decision and made that move. And then on the other hand, they're talking about trading Ellie De La Cruz. It's so frustrating to me as an old, and I mean old chronologically, Reds fan that I am.
Well,
so yeah.
We've got about 3 minutes before break, so I'm going to lay this one out there for Ryan. We saw the tale of two backups in the Colts preseason opener the other night. Unfortunately for us, Riley Leonard does not look like the answer. Granted, one game, he was no bueno. But when Anthony Tiberius Richardson III gave us you ordered every single menu item of what you expect when you're going to be served by Anthony Richardson. You literally got the entire Anthony Richardson experience in that one. I don't even know how long he played. Did he play the whole first half?
I think so.
So my question to you as our resident Colts expert, where do we stand now on Anthony Tiberius Sr. Richardson Jr. Esquire the Third?
I mean, he didn't play terrible. He played what you would think. I mean, he's got his completions down, but he's also not playing against really anybody.
I mean, he did have an interception and a lost fumble.
So, yeah, like you said, he got the whole menu.
Yeah.
But he went without the interception, he was 11 for 13 for 145.
Yeah.
Which is I almost said Tyrese Halliburton, Jesus. For Anthony Richardson Sr., that's like Hall of Fame numbers for Anthony Richardson. 6 carries, 53 yards, a touchdown. His long was 22. He played well, but he was playing against,
Was he playing the 2s and 3s?
I think he was playing farmers that lived in Foxborough. So, I mean, I mean, if he plays well, I don't know if I think Daniel Jones might play week 3 against the Lions, maybe.
Oh, so you don't think he's starter game 1? Have they already announced that?
With Daniel Jones?
Yeah.
Well, no, I think Daniel Jones will start. I'm just wondering if he plays in the preseason.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If he plays in the preseason and he plays like game 3, we'll see. But based on that, I would say he's quarterback 2 at this point.
Okay. Tom, I'm going to throw this out there as a tease for the start of the second hour. Fernando Mendoza's NFL debut. We'll talk about that after our break. Beyond the Game is brought to you by Batesville Chrysler Dodge Jeep, Gillenhow Funeral Home, Acra Automotive, Decatur County Recycling, Walters Tire, Hamilton Tebby Law Office, and Buy Right Auto. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Beyond the Game. Beyond the Game brought to you by Batesville, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Gillenhow Funeral Home, Acra Automotive, Decatur County Recycling, Walters Tire, Hamilton Tebby Law Office, and Buy Right Auto. Ryan Higginbotham, Jason Simpson live here in studio. The Godfather, Tom Fleming, joining us live via satellite. Tom, before we get into the number one draft pick and future NFL MVP, Super Bowl champion, and Hall of Famer Fernando Mendoza, you said you had a quick synopsis on the charges facing, what was his name again? I forgot. Former Terrion Arnold, former Lion, now Seahawk.
Yeah, and when I go through this situation, for me, I've always liked Dan Campbell, the head coach of the Lions. I like his intensity, and I really like his reasoning for why the Lions decided to cut ties. But here we go. The Detroit Lions cut cornerback Terrion Arnold in June 2026 following his arrest on 8 felony charges, including kidnapping and armed robbery, stemming from an alleged incident in Florida. The allegations, prosecutors accused Arnold of orchestrating the February abduction and beating of 3 men whom he wrongly suspected of stealing $100,000 in cash and luxury items from him. Arnold faces 8 felonies, which include counts of kidnapping, armed robbery, and conspiracy. After turning himself in and posting a $1 million bond, he was released under house arrest constraints while awaiting further court proceedings. Head coach Dan Campbell of the Lions and the organization opted to release the former first-round draft pick immediately after the severity and details of the felony charges came to light. Team leadership noted that while the situation was unfortunate, the franchise had to make the choice that was best for the team culture and locker room moving forward. Thank you, Dan Campbell. Thank you, Detroit Lions.
Okay, cool. I mean, not cool, but cool. You know, when you first started talking through it and you were saying that the kidnapping and things, I honestly wondered, this is going back a little bit, but granted, I am in no way trying to say that O.J. Simpson was a good human or anything like that. But I always did find it a bit odd that when he broke into it was like a convention center room, wasn't it? Or was it a hotel room? Regardless of what it is,
yeah,
he was going to get back his memorabilia that he says was stolen from him, kind of like this guy. But then, just by breaking into that hotel room, was charged and convicted of kidnapping, was one of the charges that he got. It was like, I don't understand necessarily the legal system and all the ins and outs of that. And again, because we have to do that on this show, people like to paint us with a very broad brush at times. But I'm not in any way condoning what O.J. Simpson did. I'm not saying he was a good human, so just know that. But as you were saying that, it kind of put me in the mind of that until you said, you know, he had orchestrated not only the kidnapping, but the beating and things. I'm like, oh, that's, even for O.J. Simpson, that's taking it to a new level. Holy cow. So, all right. As we said, we had the debut we've all been waiting for this past week. He is the reigning, defending Heisman Trophy winner. He is a national champion. He's a first overall pick in the NFL draft. He is quarterback of the future, maybe not even this year, and even as a fan of his, I'm not mad about that. I don't hate when people have to sit back, learn, and earn it. I do not hate that. But he is going to be an MVP in the league. Fernando Mendoza made his debut for the Raiders against the Cardinals this past week, and he came in after Kirk Cousins started. You know, Cousins, it's his job to lose as well as it should be. I mean, Cousins has been an incredibly solid quarterback over his entire career, been in a lot of really big games, won a lot of big games. I don't think that's a bad move for the Raiders to start Kirk Cousins this year. Now, if it gets later in the year and they're 3-9 and the season's over, throw Mendoza out there, see what you get. Although you're probably 3-9 because your offensive line is terrible and can't protect the quarterback, and your defense isn't good either. So I don't want Mendoza having to run for his life and things. But, I mean, I don't know how you could be anything but impressed. He played 4 drives, was 10 of 16, 97 yards, and a touchdown in his debut. Looked incredibly comfortable. I think that's what was most impressive, because a lot of times you'll see these guys, and I don't even care if it's preseason, you see them in their first starts, and they have happy feet, and, you know, they're as soon as they feel any sort of pressure, they're just tucking the ball and running because that's their instinct. They don't stand in the pocket. I thought Mendoza had great presence. I thought he made really good reads. And all joking aside, for a rookie quarterback, it was an incredibly solid first opportunity to show what he could possibly be going forward. And, you know, if I'm a Raiders fan, I have to be nothing but excited about what the future could hold for him.
Yeah. I watched some of his highlights. He zipped the ball between 2 defenders. His first touchdown, classic Mendoza, get it out quick. Yeah, he played great. Like you said, he looked comfortable, which is all you can hope for, you know, in your first real start. You know, it doesn't matter if it's preseason or it's not. You're still playing in front of, you know, 65,000 people, you know, in an NFL game. Yeah, he played great. Did he take a sack?
I think so, yeah.
Which, I mean, not much you can really do there. I mean,
Happens in the NFL.
I mean, Joe Burrow literally took a sack on his first play. So, but yeah, he played great. He did about as good as you could for your first, you know, 4 drives in the NFL, preseason or not. 10 of 16 for 97 and a touchdown. You know, some some starting quarterbacks don't even get that in the first half of a game. So 4 drives, 10 of 16 from 97.
What if that was an Anthony Richardson regular season stat line? How ecstatic would you be in a half if he's 10 of 16?
I would be very pleased with that. And now we're talking about the first overall pick having that in 4 drives. Yeah. Give me, you know what? No. Give me Fernando. I want to trade Daniel Jones for Fernando Mendoza right now. Chris Ballard, do it now.
I have a feeling you're not going to get – they won't even pick up the phone if they know that's coming. Tom, did you get to watch Fernando at all, or at least see highlights, and what are your thoughts?
I did. I saw highlights. I thought he made some really good decisions. I think he made some really tough throws into some tight windows. And, you know, normally for years, I always thought that if you have a first-round draft pick at quarterback, you know, put him in there. You know, the Colts did that with Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning holds the record still for most interceptions by a rookie quarterback, but he became a Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion. I'm not saying that Fernando Mendoza is or is going to be Peyton Manning.
Nope, that's what I heard. Tom said it.
But more recent history, I had liked the way that the decision was made with a quarterback that you may have heard of, Patrick Mahomes, and the Kansas City Chiefs drafted him in the first round, sat him for all except the last game of his rookie season, and now he's a 3-time Super Bowl champion, been to the Super Bowl 5 times. If he retired today, he'd be a Hall of Famer. So I think it just depends on how the team develops on what. But again, Kansas City was a playoff team when they brought Mahomes in. They were a playoff caliber team. The Colts were not when they brought in Peyton, just as the Raiders are not a playoff ready team right now with Fernando Mendoza coming in. And, with a guy in Kirk Cousins who's been a decent quarterback throughout his career, not somebody that's going to win a Super Bowl for you, but someone who comes in and understands that his role is to mentor Fernando Mendoza. I understand why the Raiders are going to do that. Not sure it's the right decision, but I understand why they're doing it the way that they are.
Now, let me ask you this, because, and look, I'm not trying to say he's the second coming of Tom Brady or anything, but there is a lot of borderline disrespect for Kirk Cousins in his career, I think. Now, has he been great the last couple years? No. But I want you to go, because, Tom, you pay attention to the Colts, and Ryan, you're a Colts fan, and, I watch the Colts. I wouldn't say – it's weird. I wouldn't say I'm a fan, because when I'm a fan of something, if they lose or play poorly, it affects my mood for the rest of that day and for the days following. If the Colts win or lose – it doesn't ruin my day. I want them to win, and I root for them to win, but it doesn't affect my mood like an IU loss or the Cubs going on a losing streak or something. But would you take, since the retirement of Peyton Manning, since the retirement of Andrew Luck, would you take every quarterback that the Colts have had since then or Kirk Cousins? Has there been one guy under center that you would say, no, I want more than Kirk Cousins as the Colts quarterback?
One.
I can't think of any.
It's the one who proved that he was good enough to start last year, and that's Daniel Jones.
So you would take Daniel Jones over Kirk Cousins. What Kirk Cousins has been, I'm not saying Kirk Cousins right now. I'm saying over his career.
I think over his career, he like Tom said, he's been decent enough. I think he's a good quarterback.
So you're trying to say that Daniel Jones has had a better career to this point than Kirk Cousins has? I think you guys have been sniffing paint this morning. I shouldn't say you guys. Ryan
that.
said it. Tom, what about you?
I take Kirk Cousins.
Okay. And again, I'm not trying to be a Kirk Cousins apologist, but I think Kirk Cousins has been far better than people want to give him credit for. To your point, Tom, I think the Vikings had a couple Super Bowl rosters, and they didn't get the job done. A lot of that always falls back on the quarterback. So maybe he is not a Super Bowl caliber quarterback, but I think he is better than any quarterback not named Peyton Manning or Andrew Luck that the Colts have had.
The Daniel Jones has the same amount of playoff wins as Kirk Cousins.
Like we just said.
So it's not a bad take at all.
It's not?
It's not a great take. It's not a horrible take.
Okay, it's not terrible. I'll give you that. It ain't great.
Kirk Cousins has made the playoffs 4 times. He's 1-3.
Think of all of the years like in Washington when they were atrocious.
Daniel Jones' only playoff win came against the Minnesota Vikings when Kirk Cousins was the quarterback.
Was that the one-off year with the Giants?
Yes.
He and Saquon?
Yes.
It was actually Saquon, and then Daniel Jones just wasn't bad.
Daniel Jones was just there.
Yeah. And like, I'm not banging. I am glad that if the Colts get the pre-injury version of Daniel Jones, I'm glad he is their quarterback right now. For what is available and the route that they decided to go, I thought last year before he got injured, he was playing incredibly good football. So I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to bang on Daniel Jones. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, I'm trying to take up for Kirk Cousins. Like I have a Kirk Cousins jersey at home or something. I don't. I don't know. I think there is a lot of disrespect that's lobbed his way. And it would be different if he was loud and bombastic and out there, and like if he was Shadur Sanders,
Yeah.
you know, just not being able to keep his mouth shut when he needs to keep his mouth shut, sort of thing. I don't know. So
Kirk Cousins gets a lot of slack for his last couple years. If you take off the last couple years, he's one of those quarterbacks that you can look at and be like, he was never like great enough to maintain a team in the playoffs, but he always had the numbers to be like, okay, yeah, he's a top 15 quarterback or a top 20 quarterback. He never had bad numbers outside of his last couple years. And, he tore his Achilles. He's been pretty banged up since then. He played 2 years in Atlanta, was it?
yes,
His 2 years in Atlanta, he was not good.
he was starter, then not starter, then not starter, then starter.
Yeah.
And when he came back as the starter, they won some games. He was pretty good.
Yes.
His initial outings, he wasn't great.
Yes.
But then when he was named the starter a second time, he played pretty well, actually.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably what led to him getting signed by the Raiders, would be my guess. I have a question for you guys. So I hope this is a slam dunk, easy question. When I say the number 23, what comes to your mind?
Michael Jordan.
Tom, do you have a different answer?
Yeah, Michael Jordan.
Without a doubt, right? I mean, there's no middle ground with that. I don't care who else has worn the number, Michael Jordan, right?
Yep.
And we're thinking across all sports here, so don't think I'm going just NBA. If I say the number 42, who do you think of?
Jackie Robinson.
Jackie Robinson, right? Tom, is that where you were going?
Yeah, I mean, Major League Baseball retired that number because of him.
Okay. Now this one might be a little more out in left field, but I think it's synonymous with one individual. This is across sports. What if I say the number 3?
Dale Earnhardt.
Dale Earnhardt. Like he is the person that is most known for the number 3, right? What if I say the number 5? Who do you think of? Okay, you say Johnny Bench. The first person that came to my mind when I thought of the number 5 was Jalen Rose. I don't know why, but like he was the first number 5. Or Big George Leach that used to play for the Hoosiers. When I hear the number 5, Ryan, who's the first? Like I have to think you're probably thinking Johnny Bench or a Red or somebody like that.
Now, I know where you're going with this because this is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. So I'm not going to say his name, but Johnny Bench would be number for me.
Okay, but you notice how we all had different answers, and I had 2 answers.
Yes. Yes.
Tom, I have a question for you, sir. Why? Because he is such a generational talent that people are going to be talking about for generations to come. You mean to tell me that the number 5 isn't synonymous with Jaden Daniels in your mind, Tom?
No.
What? I don't know. Ryan obviously saw this. Tom, I don't know if you saw this. Did you see that Jaden Daniels, he air quotes around this, his family has sent a cease and desist to LSU that they are no longer allowed to use his name, image, or likeness in anything to do with his time at LSU because he feels so disrespected over the fact that they are allowing a sophomore, I think he's a corner, who, oh, by the way, was an All-American as a freshman last year. It's not like they're giving it to a walk-on. But nobody had worn the number 5 at LSU since Jaden Daniels graduated. Or I shouldn't say grad. I use that term loosely. Since he left LSU. To my knowledge, there was no written agreement. There was no verbal agreement that the number 5 would never be worn again. It just didn't happen. And so I don't know if Jaden Daniels took that as a sign, well, that means they're never going to do it. Out of respect for me, I won the Heisman Trophy. I am the greatest thing ever. Oh, by the way, the number 5 was not retired by LSU But Jaden Daniels feels so disrespected over the fact that now this sophomore cornerback, like I said, who, oh, by the way, was an All-American as a freshman last year, is not some scrub, is now going from number 3 to number 5 and wearing Jaden Daniels, number 5, for the LSU purple and gold. Tom, is this Jaden Daniels crying over spilt milk, or does he have a legit argument here?
It's ridiculous. You know who else won a Heisman Trophy at LSU and his jersey hasn't been retired? Joe Burrow.
Oh, you mean
What's
the
the
former
difference?
number 1 draft pick who not only won the Heisman, went 15-0, won a national title, threw
Yes.
for over 6,000 yards, and it was, wasn't it like 50-plus touchdowns?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
he was responsible for
it was
so many.
literally video game numbers. There's good
Yeah,
reason
but-
for it. But guess what? It's
They haven't-
even
they
that is
haven't
not
let
officially
anybody
retired.
They haven't let anybody wear that number, but they also have not retired it.
So, much ado about nothing, or is Jaden Daniels crying over spilt milk? Like, does he have a legitimate point, or is he just being a big baby?
I think he's being a big baby. Although, you know, this guy that's going to be wearing number 5, who is an incredible player, you know, why would LSU need to use Jaden Daniels' name, image, and likeness with that number anymore?
I mean, the only thing I can think of is they probably have displays around the stadium or around the football complex, you know, celebrating the year that he had, you know, winning the Heisman. Was he did Washington draft him number 1? He wasn't the number 1 pick, was he?
No,
He was number 2.
he was
behind
number
Caleb.
2.
Oh, okay. He was the same year as Caleb Williams. Yeah. So, I mean, second pick, and the year that he won the Heisman, they won like the Mako Auto Parts Bowl or something. I mean, now that's not all on him. He was obviously good enough to win the Heisman. That may have been one of the worst defenses in the history of college football that year. But like, you're going to have you are so soft. You're going to have your feelings hurt so much that now you're not going to let LSU celebrate your accomplishments by having displays of you and things of that nature, because now they cannot use your name, your image, or your likeness. All they can do is display the Heisman Trophy. And I'm assuming in that, since it's on an award, they could use it in that way, I would think.
You would
Maybe.
hope so.
I don't know. But they can't have any big posters celebrating you, talk about your accomplishments, anything. I mean, maybe they can't even say Jaden Daniels won the Heisman anymore. Our quarterback of this year did it, and here's his statistics. Like, what are you do? What you're doing in making LSU do this, or not allowing them to do this, is you're basically wiping your memory from future LSU fans. Like, the younger generation eventually won't even know that you played, other than the fact, hey, we had a Heisman winner. Who was that? Oh, I don't know.
Can't say his name.
It will do him more harm than good.
I mean, that's quite literally big baby status. You're just a big crying baby. Am I missing something here in that?
No, that's like Michael Pittman Jr. trying to say that, you know, somebody on the Colts can't wear number 11 now. But it's stupid, you know. Like, if they gave it to some scrub, I could see him saying, well, why would you give, you know, for the first time in 3 years or however long, you know, you give it to some scrub who's on the practice team. Like, I would understand that in some sense. But a All-American in his freshman year who is only going to get better, they give it to somebody who's going to represent the number well enough, who's going to do well enough. I wouldn't see a problem with that at all.
I can see maybe being a little irritated if you let a quarterback wear it. Like, a guy in the same position, be like, but this is on the opposite side of the ball. And like we've said, a kid who's already earned an All-American status as a freshman. Like, why don't you celebrate that and encourage, like, hey, instead of being mad that they're using my number again, why don't we reserve it for people like that? And it will just kind of be that roving number. What if in 3 years they have another Jamar Chase level wide receiver? Hey, let's have him be number 5. And it would kind of become, this is a bad way of putting it in a way, but and I know it's a comedy show and things, but they have the 5-timers club on Saturday Night Live, and they get like these Navy jackets, I think it is, with, I get it, it's made up, but they make it a thing. Why can't number 5 be that thing now, Jaden Daniels? No, I'm going to take my ball and go home. He is like a petulant child right now who didn't get his way. And so he, like I said, he's going to remove himself from the memories of younger LSU fans, because they're going to eventually not know who he is, because he won't be on anything around the stadium. He can't even be in programs or like a display or signs or posters. Like, he's going to scrub himself from the memory of LSU, and it's too bad, dude. You won the Heisman. There's so many better ways to handle this, but
yeah,
it just shows the problem with name, image, and likeness. To me, it comes back down to that. It just shows one of the major problems with name, image, and likeness. Everybody wants paid for everything. They want to be treated as though they are one of one, which Jaden Daniels is not.
no.
Yeah.
Like, he had a tremendous rookie year in the NFL. Once he left LSU, he was really good. What did he do last year?
nothing.
Not saying that's a sign of the future. I mean, sophomore slumps are a real thing. Maybe he's good this year. The Redskins. Oh,
He was
sorry.
hurt all year.
The Commanders weren't as good last year either. So I'm not making a judgment on him, but like, we need to pump the brakes a bit. And, you start churning out MVP seasons and, getting deep into the playoffs and things like that. Then you can start complaining about things that don't matter. But right now, how about you just shut up and worry about this season? Like, what are we doing, Jaden Daniels? Hey, Tom, I hate to steal it from you, but he just did it. Hey, Jaden Daniels, get off my lawn. What are we doing?
Yeah, how about we focus on what's really going on? The number 1 overall pick, Caleb Williams, is the cover of Madden this year.
Yeah.
Who is making unbelievable plays. He made another jump throw in his first preseason game. The number 3 pick, Drake May, just went to the Super Bowl. And the number 2 pick went to one NFC championship game where they lost by 30.
But he was a rookie. It was impressive. I'm not
It
going to take
was.
that away from him.
But since then, he's done nothing.
Well, to Tom's point, he was oft injured last year. But, yes.
But the number 1 pick is still doing things to get better each and every week, not worrying about who's wearing his number at USC or Oklahoma. The number 3 pick doesn't care who's wearing his number at North Carolina. So why is the number 2 pick really giving that much of a crap about it?
Yeah.
Because he won a Heisman. So did number 1. He's not caring. I mean, what's the point?
It's the old take your ball and go home mentality is what he's got, and I don't understand it. So, Tom, I have to wonder, do you think that the valuation of franchises in the major sports is going to be like the tech bubble? Is there going to be a limit, or do you think that the overall valuation of these franchises is just going to continue to grow and grow and grow far into the future? Do you see any end in sight for it?
I don't think so. What may happen is you might see these private equity firms being able to buy a larger percentage of a team than what they are. But I mean, this is crazy. I mean, Mark Walter, with this sale of the Lakers, is going to make $2.5 billion after 14 months of owning the team.
Yeah.
And although it's a different sport, Major League Baseball is crying about how much their players are getting paid and they need a salary cap, when Mark Walter, who runs the Dodgers, threw the money in that he did. I think I don't remember how much he paid for it, but I mean, I think it just I don't see an end to it.
Do you know why he sold the Lakers and is now dangling the Dodgers out there as well? Just because it's going to make him money, or?
Allegedly, because his firms are under federal investigation for some loans that they made, kind of a bait and switch, where he gave money from, let one of his businesses borrow money from another one of his businesses that are involved in the stock market. So he's under investigation for wire fraud, insurance fraud, and I think he's trying to get as many of those loans paid off before the federal investigation gets any farther.
I see. Well, the whole reason that I brought this up is, and you just said it, in 14 months, the Los Angeles Lakers, who were just bought by former Disney CEO Bob Iger and another guy, their valuation increased $2.5 billion, billion with a B, from $10 billion that he fronted to buy them 14 months ago to $12.5 billion is the overall valuation of the Los Angeles Lakers. And if the Los Angeles Lakers are $12.5 billion, which I understand it, either they or the Celtics are they're the two tentpole franchises of the NBA. They just are. So you have to think that the Lakers are probably the most valuable franchise and I mean historically, because I think right now the Warriors are probably the second, but that's because of Steph Curry. At one point it would have been the Bulls because of Michael Jordan. But through the years, it's the Lakers and it's the Celtics. So if the Lakers are a $12.5 billion franchise, Tom, what would you guess if Jerry Jones put the Cowboys up for sale, that the Dallas Cowboys would be valued at? Because they have to be considered the most historically, and even today in popularity, they have to be considered the most valuable franchise. What do you think that the Cowboys would be valued at?
After this Lakers story came out, it came out that the estimated valuation for the Dallas Cowboys would now be $15.5 billion.
Whew.
But it's going to keep going until fans stop showing up. When fans stop buying tickets, stop buying merchandise, that's the only way this is going to stop.
And when's that going to happen?
$15.5 billion for the Cowboys.
Like, legitimately, when will that happen? As long as you stay relevant and you don't have, now, Major League Baseball, I'm telling you, it really hurts the sport if they strike even for a couple months. But if they lose the season, I don't see a path forward for baseball. I just don't. I could be wrong. I don't see a path forward for them. But, like, I'm going to use IU as a perfect example. For years, as you know, as we all know, IU was atrocious in football. They've got I'm trying to remember the exact, I think it's 56,000 seat stadium. I think that's what Memorial Stadium is, 56,000. If you got to 10,000 people, like, that was a huge crowd at IU. Over the last 2 years, Indiana Jesus has come in. Yes, that's Kurt Signetti's new name, Indiana Jesus, has come in and totally transformed not only IU, Indiana football, he has transformed college football. Now, look at what IU is from an attendance standpoint. You can't keep people away. Why? Because they win, and they're relevant, and they're fun. If you can keep your franchise doing that, How are you ever going to do anything but gain value? If IU was a professional franchise now, over the last 2 years, they would be in the top 5 to top 10 most valuable programs in the nation. I'm not saying historically and not overall, but if you would look at that as a franchise, much like the Warriors they worked their way to that because of Steph Curry, right? Lightning in a bottle. That's what IU is right now, and I'm not saying they're going to stay there forever. I hope they do as an IU fan, but when you get to that point, how are you ever going to lose value if you can stay fun and relevant and continue to win?
Well, and look at the Cowboys. I mean, what have they done? What have they won in the last 30 years? Nothing.
They haven't won
Nothing.
a playoff game since the 90s, have they?
Yeah.
Isn't that right?
I think so.
But again,
they haven't even won anything, and they're still the top in team valuation.
They're like the Lakers and the Celtics, is what they are.
Yeah.
They're like the Lakers and the Celtics. They are a bedrock foundational franchise. I would say they and the Steelers would probably be the two that and maybe the Bears. Bears, Steelers. Oh, I'm sorry. There's probably 4: Bears, Packers, Steelers, Cowboys.
Yeah.
Right? Those would be your bedrock foundation franchises, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Maybe the Dolphins? Question mark. I'm asking because I don't know.
Maybe because
Look,
of their
you know,
70s.
Look at it
thing.
this way, and I guess this takes it to the other extreme, but if you look at winning, then why aren't the Patriots number one in value?
I think, to me, that's like a Golden State scenario. Golden State's value is because of Steph Curry. Let's not pretend that it's not. New England's value, even though, yes, I know they went to the Super Bowl last year, they were not a Super Bowl team. I'm sorry. I will fight somebody on that. Yes, I know they got there. But their value would have been Tom Brady. I think that's why, because you got to look at all of those years of futility. And then, yes, I know that you had the plucky Patriots showed up in the 85 Super Bowl against the Super Bowl shuffling Bears. But we saw how that ended. And then look at what they were from then. And they were irrelevant until Drew Bledsoe. And then Drew Bledsoe was good, but he was never great. Then you had Tom Brady. And that totally changed things. Now, without Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, they're incredibly vanilla, uninteresting. And yes, if I'm a Patriots fan, I love that. Just be vanilla, but win like they continue to do. But I don't think, because some of your valuation has to come from not only your 50 states popularity, like, do you have worldwide popularity? Are you known? If somebody wears a Dallas Cowboys hat with just the star on it, there's going to be people around the world that know what that means. If somebody wears like a Jacksonville Jaguars hat in the middle of Zimbabwe, what are the odds that somebody's going to know that's the Jacksonville Jaguars? Very, very low. And so I think that has something to do with it as well. I think you can have it where individual players can lift your franchise.
Well, and if 50 years ago, all of NFL, the networks, all of the reports started calling Dallas America's team.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still thought of that when they haven't won anything in a hot minute. So, I mean, that has an impact, too. When somebody keeps shoving down your throat America's team, that has to have a huge impact.
Have you heard what, if he could sell the Dodgers, what their valuation would be right now?
I have not.
Because I have to wonder, if they both went up for sale, which team is going to be valued higher, the Dodgers or the Yankees?
I would think the Yankees.
I would tend to think so too, but going back to our popularity and relevancy, here in the recent years, they've got 3 World Series. in the last 4 or 5 years, the Dodgers, or just 2?
3. They have 2020 and then the 2 back-to-back.
So they've got 3 World Series in the last 5 seasons. Maybe that pushes them, but I would probably go with you, Tom, and say it's the Yankees, but I also wouldn't be totally shocked if somebody said, well, it's the Dodgers by, 200 million or whatever. I don't know. But, those 2 would definitely be the 2 highest valued teams, followed probably by the Red Sox and the Cubs, would you say?
Yeah.
That'd be my guess. So, I don't know. It's just wild to me to think. And think about this. The Lakers' valuation went up, and they don't have LeBron. Oh, sorry, LeBron, you're not that important, are you, buddy? You know why it went up? It's because of the Great White Hope, the starting lineup that's going to be 5 white dudes in the NBA. Like
Luka, Austin Reeves,
Walker Kessler.
Walker Kessler.
And I don't know who it's going to be after that.
I don't know the other.
Anyway, I find it hilarious. So,
according to Forbes, the Yankees are now worth $8.5 billion, and Forbes says that the Dodgers are 7.8.
So close.
But they've slashed the difference in half over the last few years.
So again,
the Dodgers in other breakdowns, they are valued as much as 9.05. So the Yankees and Dodgers are pretty much level on that.
We can't go a week. I'm sorry. We can't do it. Purdue fans, I'm sorry. It's our job as big brother to always needle little brother. And we're going to slightly revisit the quote heard round the world. But after the joke fell flat by good old Tommy McClelland when he said, if you want to win championships, you come to Purdue. If you don't want to win championships, go to Indiana. There was a fan poll done, I think, by the university. They wanted to find out what everybody thought. Only 4% of the people that were polled gave the hiring of Tommy McClelland an A after this, and the vast majority of them were C- or below. Now, here, in all fairness to him, like I told you last week when we were discussing it, I read an article where, they said he was brought in because of his history in fundraising. And he has done a phenomenal job of that at his other stops. So if he's able to come in and do that for Purdue, that joke will be forgotten. It won't be forgotten by IU fans, but in Purdue fans' mind, they will forget that, as they should. If he comes in and actually does the job he was hired to do, just don't have him do any stand-up anywhere, because that's not going to work well for him. But I just thought that was funny that even now Purdue fans are turning on the hire, and they are not real excited about what he had to say. So I thought that was pretty good. Tom, I have to ask you this question. So we already talked about Fernando. Did you happen, because we know that you have 2 TVs going at any one time in your house, 2 large televisions for that matter going at any one time. Did you happen to have the Philadelphia Phillies versus Minnesota Twins game on from Field of Dreams the other night?
No, I had completely forgotten about it until after it was over.
Same as me, but I did what the kids do nowadays. I caught it through clips. That's just they don't watch full games anymore. They just see it through the clips. And the thing about that is, we used to kind of do that when we would say through clips, but we would have to wait until the updated Sports Center came on, and then we would watch Sports Center. Now they just get instantly, they get the updates through whatever app they might be watching, so they can see it basically as it happens. But a pretty cool night. Former Hoosier, by the way, have to throw that out there. Former Cub, former World Series champion, Kyle Schwarber absolutely stole the show with 2 bombs into the corn. out in right field. Just overall thoughts from you guys on the Field of Dreams game that has become an annual thing that Major League Baseball does, and then for Schwarber to do that. And I saw the intro of it was really cool. They had the Griffies, senior and junior, walk out of the cornfield, much like in Field of Dreams, the movie, and junior says to senior, like Kevin Costner does in the movie, "Hey, Dad, want to have a catch?" You know, pretty cool moment that they're able to capture. But overall, your guys' thoughts on what has become an annual tradition of playing a Major League game at the Field of Dreams Stadium?
I think nothing will top the first one that they did, White Sox and Yankees, especially with Tim Anderson hitting a walk-off to end the game. I know, what was it, last year or a couple years ago when it was the Cubs and Reds, I think, played in it. It was not that good of a game offensively. But yeah, it's a great format. You know, you get to play in Iowa. You get to play where they shot a movie. You know, it's like any kid who was born in Indiana and was able to go play in the Hoosier Gym. You know, it's something out of like a fairy tale. You know, it's a magical feeling, and I can only imagine. You know, a guy who played at IU, who's I saw it was a tweet of all the most memorable games Kyle Schwarber has hit a bomb in. He's hit a home run in almost every big game of his career.
In every situation that a baseball player could want to hit a home run in, other than like a walk-off to win the World Series, you know, something like that. But yet, like, it was the College World Series. It was
I saw Big Ten Tourney was on there.
Big Ten Tourney, as a rookie in an All-Star game, in the playoff, or in the wild card, NLDS, NLCS, World Series, Field of Dreams, you know, all of these. It was something with the new format of the home run derby.
Swing off and the home run derby.
I mean, it was all of these things. If there was a spot to hit a home run, Kyle Schwarber has done it, and he did it twice the other night.
And you would think that the Cincinnati Reds signed him, right? No, they got Eugenio Suarez. Good.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's I forgot what I was going to say. Sorry. Go ahead, guys.
Well, and Ryan, you mentioned it. I think one thing, and it's unfortunate that it isn't truly a regulation-sized court, but it is like being able to go play a game at Hoosier Gym. Because if you have never been there, now they have repainted the floor so that you can play a high school game there. So it is not exactly like it was in the movie, but basically every other part of that gym, you feel like you are walking into the movie Hoosiers. It is uncanny, and it's a pretty nostalgic thing, you know, especially for people in Indiana, but they get visitors from around the world. It's not like Hoosiers is not just a phenomenal movie in Indiana. I mean, it's anytime they do the top sports movies of all time, depending who's doing the list, Hoosiers always lands in the top 3 of all-time sports movies. So, you know, you have Field of Dreams. You get to go play a major league game there. It's unfortunate there's no way they could do an NBA game at Hoosier Gym, and they couldn't do a college one there for that matter because it isn't a regulation gym. It's close enough you can play high school games in there, but I won't lie to you. Even at the high school level, it's pretty tight for nowadays, but it's still very cool. So, you know, I don't know if there would be other venues that you could think of in other sports that could elicit that kind of feel. You know, maybe again going to the high school side of things, you could play another game in Hinkle because they don't really do that anymore. You know,
I know they're playing the NBA Cup at Hinkle this year. The NBA, the Emirates in-season tournament, the semifinal and finals at Hinkle this year.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
So the Pacers that's the championship the NBA is going to let them win this year, apparently.
They're destined to make it.
Jason, I have a lot of highlights of games that I've been a part of the broadcast from your team, obviously 99% of my top 100 are all things that your team has done. But I actually got to broadcast a game at Hoosier Gym, and that was really cool. It was a summer league game for the South Decatur boys, but we got to broadcast from Hoosier Gym, Randy and I. That was a pretty cool moment.
Now, Tom, was that the first time you had been in that gym?
Yes.
And am I right? You literally feel like you are walking into the movie and not a set.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you've ever seen a set of a TV show or anything, you know, it's flats, it's false walls and things like that, that you only see the things that they want you to see on camera. Whereas this is a full-fledged building that you are walking into the movie. Is that the same feel that you got?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they took us down in the locker rooms, which have the chalkboards up that still have all the stuff drawn up there from movies. They have jerseys from players of different teams that have played there. Baker Howard from South Decatur, his jersey was in there. Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
And you know, I'm trying to think, like, you have to give hockey kudos because they do what I don't even remember what they call it, but they play an outdoor game in a stadium every year, which is really cool. That takes hockey back to its roots. I honestly, because like in the NBA, they've torn down all the old famous venues.
Yeah.
You know, the old Boston Gardens is no longer there. The old Chicago Stadium isn't there.
You could, if they wanted to refigure it, you technically could have the Lakers play at the Forum.
At the Forum. That was the one that just popped in my head. But I don't know where you could go nostalgically other than, and you would have to do Lakers Celtics in the Forum.
Yeah.
You would absolutely have to. But is there anything that you can think of nostalgically that the NBA could do, Tom?
Ooh. Not off the top of my head, no.
And like in college basketball, they still have these gyms. Like you have Fog Allen.
Mm-hmm.
You have is it the Palestra? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, where Penn plays. Yeah.
And then you've got I just lost the name of IU played Rutgers there last year, I believe, out on the East Coast. It was or maybe they played at the Palestra, but they played at an old gym there. I mean, 1972 is when Assembly Hall was opened. I mean, that's getting to be nostalgic almost. It's not nearly as old as Fog Allen is, but you know, Cameron Indoor, same way. You have these nostalgic places that are still the home courts of some teams in college basketball. So I don't know that they would really need to go anywhere. NFL, kind of the same way as the NBA. All the old nostalgia, except Lambeau. You could say Soldier Field, but that's about ready to be no more.
I mean, they could go back out to Oakland for a game, but I don't know if they'd actually want to do that.
There's probably no seats or anything in the stadium anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I give kudos to the NHL, to Major League Baseball. You know, they found a way to kind of capture some of that nostalgia. I don't know how it would be possible in other sports, and I'm sure there's something that we're missing. You know, college basketball it wasn't nostalgia, but they tried for a couple of years to do it on the aircraft carrier, humidity wreaked havoc on that one.
College football, they played at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Yeah.
And it was like 160,000 people there, but you couldn't see the flipping thing to begin with. I mean, there's not... Trying to think, what are the meccas of college football?
Well, they play a bowl game at Yankee Stadium, and they play
it at Fenway.
I want to say maybe Northwestern is going back to Wrigley
they play
this
Wrigley
year.
every year. Yeah, that's right.
Because that at one point was their home field.
Mm-hmm.
So,
what are the meccas of college football?
From a stadium standpoint, ooh, that's a good. I mean, just known for their stadium, maybe Georgia Stadium because you play between the hedges. Notre Dame Stadium, obviously, the Golden Dome,
Michigan,
the Big House,
Big House,
yeah.
With Ohio Stadium, the Horseshoe,
yep.
Or the shoe.
How old is that, Tom? How long has the obviously they've expanded and expanded. How old is the shoe?
Oh wow, let me see.
It's got to be old.
The Coliseum, but it's not that old. I mean, it was built for the '84 Olympics.
And they have totally remodeled to a college football style stadium now.
Yeah.
They put boxes and everything in it.
So I don't even know if that would be. I'm trying to think of others. That's
Ohio Stadium opened in 1922.
Whoa.
There's a Mecca.
What was the original capacity?
66,210.
So they've added
In the 20s, it was over 66,000. Wow, that's
Yep.
impressive.
Yeah.
Okay. And now they're at 100 and what?
3.
I think like 102.
So they are approaching almost doubling the original capacity. And then, of course, you have the big house. I don't know. Tom, can you think of any others?
I guess you could do.
The Swamp?
This is
Yeah.
funny. Harvard Stadium, built in 1903.
Oh. But since they're not.
Ivy League schools are weird, you know.
Yeah.
It's like the Palestra. They've been open for 100 years. I did not know this. Kyle Field, home of Texas A&M, was opened in 1904.
Oh, wow. In its original place, or is this like the second iteration of Kyle Field?
I think it's the original.
Oh, okay.
Bobby Dodd Stadium, opened in 1913.
Who's that? I've heard of it.
Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech, okay.
I did not know this. Nippert Stadium, opened in 1915.
Wow. What about Penn State's?
Gosh.
Yeah, that would have to be one.
I don't even
It's-
remember what the name of it is.
Beaver Stadium.
Beaver
Beaver
State.
Stadium.
That's right.
It's a-
Interesting. I don't know.
Huge place.
But it's funny, Ohio Stadium did not have permanent lights until 2014.
That's like Notre Dame. Notre Dame didn't have permanent lights for years and years and years.
Yeah, yeah. Or your Cubbies, Jason, didn't have
Could've played
lights
night
for
games
forever.
Beaver Stadium opened in September of 1960.
1960. Interesting. Okay. Well, gentlemen, we have definitely run the gamut of possible stories this week. We have been all over the map. But as usual, we crushed it. Beyond the Game brought to you by Batesville, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Gillenhow Funeral Home, Acra Automotive, Decatur County Recycling, Walters Tire, Hamilton Tebby Law Office, and